I am light. In me, there is no darkness, for my eye is single to light. Wheresoever I am, I shine. And I shine everywhere because light is everywhere. There is no place where I am not, for I fill all space. Therefore, my recognition that I walk in light lets me know that darkness flees. But does it really flee? No, because it cannot be there. Because light is everywhere and darkness is simply the absence of that which is. So that which we perceive as darkness is not a reality because light fills all space. Oh, what a revelation. Oh, what a recognition. I am everywhere. So what then shall I fear? What do I even pay attention to as being an obstacle? For light penetrates all, and light speaks unto light. Light always decrees truth. So then, I relax. I relax. And I realize I am freedom. I am liberty. I am the liberator. Nothing can incarcerate me. Nothing can enslave me because I am the way. I am truth. I am the light. I am life. I am free. I am all. I need do nothing because I am. I am. Speak, Lord. Your servant is listening. And so it is. The peace that comes in that little brief moment, that's the treasure. Lay not up for yourself treasures on earth where moth and rust and thieves can break in to steal, but lay up the treasure in heaven. Heaven being so close to us that one philosopher wrote it down that it was so close to us than our breathing and nearer than hands and feet. That means that heaven would have to be the very fiber of my being. Now, think about what would be or what is if you're that close to heaven and can't be separated because it is actually the very fiber. It's like I'm going to tear a building down, but I need to tear the walls down. But if I tear the walls down, I'm tearing the building down. I can't get rid of the building without tearing down the walls. So I and heaven are one. Now just embrace that. Where can I go that heaven is not? So now, why will I fear a judgment? How can heaven live in me on this earth for whatever span of years and then at the end step out and say, I'm going to judge you to see if you're worthy? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the living God? The thing that we have to be able to accept is we've entertained a thought that caused us to think that we're separated from God by some sin that somebody did way back, and we've been paying the price for it through all these generations, and we have to work our way back into a position to get back in the good graces. That's a bunch of crap. A bunch of crap. And we're walking around, and I know if you're anything like me, you at times look up and say, I ain't doing nothing. Why I got to go through this? That's right. That's a very good question. You were trained to be separated from God. Now, God has tapped you on the shoulder and said, it's time for us to awaken and receive awareness divine. Receive awareness divine. Well, awareness divine would have to come from God, because God is the only divinity that there is. And anything made by God would have to be divine, because anything he puts his hand to, if he got a hand, anything he puts his hand to would have to be an extension of what he is. And if we're extensions of what God is, then we can't be separated. That's why Paul says, I have come to the knowledge that nothing shall separate me from the love of God. And when it pleased God to reveal his Son in me, oh, look at him. He's being joined together. He says, then I was crucified with Christ. I, Paul, was crucified. But nevertheless, I lived on. Why? Because now I understand the life that lives is an expression of the life that's eternal. And they cannot be separated. For it pleased God that the fullness of the Godhead would dwell in his creation bodily. I'm his creation. So the fullness of God is dwelling here. Now you see you're receiving awareness divine. There is no law against this. So don't go out and start to talk to people about this unless you see an interest that they're saying they want to understand spiritual things, because right off they cannot entertain this. They see blasphemy. They see someone making themselves to be godlike. When Psalm 82:6 comes right out and says, does not he say in your law, ye are gods? And if the scripture cannot be broken. So that's why secrecy becomes your modus operandi. You're just walking around knowing who you are, knowing that you are light. You see, because man is the chalice of God. Everything that makes God what God is incorporated in man, the golden chalice. So whenever you decide or think that you may be lacking in anything, stop. Because whatsoever God is, he has placed in his creation, with man being the main emphasis or the main structure of God. Within his intelligence is the intelligence of God. Now, I'm quite sure you can see why this will not preach across pulpit, because the unconditioned or unprepared hearing ear is going to hear a human making themselves to be like God. When in actuality, you're saying, no, I am acknowledging the glory of God that is here. And in and of myself, I don't do anything. Why? Because it's that glory that's doing everything, and I'm just letting it basically pass through. But in reality, I sit and know that when you see me, you see that glory. Why? Because the other thing that I had thought I was, I have crucified. But people can't understand that because you're making yourself to be something that is unlike them. I was just telling John a little earlier, over the past 3 nights, I have gone through the entire chapter. Matthew, Luke twice, John, and we'll probably go through John again tonight because I got to set up at the house. And you go through the whole book? Yep. Why? Because I'm infatuated. I am so caught up with what God did for me that I want to know every little jot and tittle or every scripture that I can, not to use it, but to have it stored up in me that I might not sin against him. You are the intelligence of God made manifest. Whatever God chooses to do, he does it through man. You should be able to see that. If there were no men, who would God communicate with or through? So God has given his intelligence bodily form and called it man. So it is man's divine right to portray and express and manifest the glory of God. Master, who sinned that this person was born blind? Was it his mother? Was it his father? No, neither. This man was born this way that the glory of God would be manifest in him. So why are you going through situations? Please tell me you understand this. Remember I told you a little earlier, when you come out of this one, something else is coming, and something else is coming. Why? That you might see and understand the glory of God that's been placed in you that will at some point in time get your full attention and repel every evil thing that's coming at you until the point to where you no longer have any challenge or any fear of anything, and you become the light of the world. And now you're out shining in that darkness, and you're walking around, and people are coming up and asking you for help, and they don't even know they're asking, who they're asking, and you can look at them and say, it'll be okay. It'll be fine. Don't look back over your shoulder. Don't look back to see whether or not they got healed or whether their situation. Why? Because you know who you are. Did you get that? If you know who you are, why would you look to see who they are? Whoa, okay. So when you tell somebody in your own terminology, go and sin no more, that's it. That's it. Now, whether they go and sin anymore is on them. But what did you do? You set them free, didn't you? Neither do I hold anything. That's why you have to watch every conversation, every situation you get in, because if you're not careful, that false person will enter in and put his judgments. And you'll walk around, that's not right, this is not right. No. Excuse me. There is no right and wrong in this world. There is only truth in God. Man is formed by that which is all-powerful. All-powerful. If you don't believe that God is all-powerful, now you see where the work needs to be done. And how can the work be done except you go through a situation that proves that God is all-powerful? I don't want to go through it. That's your choice. But until you go through it, you're going to always believe that there is some power out there that can overtake you. But if you say, Lord, as Jesus is in the garden, what did he say? Let this cup pass from me. Was he facing a challenge? Yes. Nevertheless, thy will be done. What? Lord, into this challenge do I commit my spirit. Well, what spirit are you committing? But his spirit. See? So what then can come at God? What can arrest God? What can change God? Nothing. But you have got to take your personal, what you call your personal self, you've got to take that into the challenge, that he may be crucified. You ain't got no business listening to him anyway. All he's good for is following your orders. Not telling you what to do. And that's what he's always trying to do. Why? Because he's been trained to tell you what to do. And sometimes he's good, and sometimes he's bad. Most of the time, he never wins the war. He just puts it off for a little while so that you can get attacked at another season. We want to get away from his attack. How do we get away? You go through each challenge with our Father who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we, see the condition? As we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom. Thine is the power. Thine is the glory. How long? Forever. The one prayer that Jesus gave us, that one prayer, if you get in it, the more you get in it, the more you're going to see in it. And the more you see in it, the more you're going to live in it. And the more you live in it, the more you're going to receive awareness divine. Because that's all God has for us. Heaven is the realization of that fact. You mean it's not pearly gates and Gold Street? That was a revelation that John was having in the book of Revelation. His epiphany was described as pearly gates and crystal fountains and golden streets. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven cannot be seen with the natural eye. Whoa. No, it's love, joy, and righteousness. So if they tell you they found it, don't go. Why? Because the kingdom of heaven is first within, and second, all around. So what shall I fear if the kingdom of heaven is all around me? I shouldn't fear anything, but I do. So what do? I pray, our Father, reveal the kingdom, and I walk believing that the Father is with me. I do not prepare beforehand what I am going to say when I'm called before the magistrates and the judges. I simply sit and listen. I open my mouth, and he feels it. Look at your dependency here. See your dependency? I open my mouth, and he feels it. Why? Because I believe that he is with me. Through much practice, man becomes aware of his divine position. Where is your divine position? At the right hand of the Father. You see it? At the right hand of the Father. Now, how do I see that? Because the Father goes before me. The Father is my shield and buckler. The Father is fighting for me. The Father is doing all things. That's my perception. Where do I see it? I see it in an internal understanding. The Father is with me. I am now saturated with this truth. Totally relaxed in the knowledge that I am immortal. I am eternal. I am immortal and I am eternal. What do I do with that? Relax. You can't show this to anybody. You can't tell them about this. They can't see it. Why? When you realize it, you have been born again. Not baptized in water and waiting to speak in tongues. Okay? I am speaking in tongues to you right now because I'm speaking a language that the church world can't accept, and the non-church world thinks you're just absolutely crazy. He said. But born again. What is born again? Washed, cleansed of all of the beliefs that I have carried. What are they? Usually they're beliefs of fear, dread, enslavement, poverty. The water of the gospel cleanses all of that out of your consciousness. There's your baptism in the water. That's you born of the water. What's the other one? Spirit. What did Jesus say? Tell my disciples to tarry at Jerusalem until when? Till they be endued with power from on high. Here comes the Spirit. Well, wait a minute. What, is it coming from something? No, it's your understanding. When that word registers into you to the point where you go, yeah, I see it. Now that's the Spirit. It's always been with you. There's no spirit coming from some place to suddenly change you into something that's going to be able to stand and fight. No, it's the truth that fights. Truth repels all lies. So I work in cleansing my consciousness and staying in the Word until the divine awareness of that truth clicks in me. Now I hear the still small voice. This is the way. Walk ye in it. Not take Route 52. Not take Route 27, 13. Not go be a Baptist. Go be a Pentecostal. No, it's a little boy that speaks and says, I got you. This is the way. What? Walk in this way, trusting me. You are not going to be able to make people see this. So what do I do? You wait for the Spirit to draw those who are out there saying, I want to wake up, Lord, show me the way. They will be drawn to you Just like I told you earlier, I've been expecting. You just somehow know. Somehow you know, and you just relax. And wait, somehow you won't get it right. I don't get it right all the time. But you just know. Why? Is not Abraham my friend? Isn't that what God said? Shall I not tell him what I'm about to do in the earth? What? You mean God? Yeah. God is going to come to you when necessary and tell you what he's getting ready to do. So it's up to you to be still and know that God has all knowledge, all presence, and all power, and he has determined that those three qualities will live bodily in his temple, which you are. That's why at the end of all my posts, you notice I put, listen. Listen. I'm not saying I got some power. No, I'm listening. And as I listen, I give out. I give it out. Why? Because there are people out there saying, I would like to get closer to God. Well, know that as you give out, that spirit that you're giving out is drawing them closer to God, not you. They may come to you, and your only responsibility is to share with them until they can start hearing on their own, and they will begin to share with you. That's why I tell y'all all the time, keep it lifted up. Keep it lifted up. Why? Because you're going to get stuff that I need. You get it? I'm not the authority in this thing. I'm listening like you. And when you come and say, the Lord gave this to me, it's like my daughter came last night and gave me something, and I just wrote back and said, thank you, sweetheart, and I'm coming for it. Because I know how to go get it. If you got it, it's mine. If it came from God. And she just wrote back, LOL. Yeah, right. Right. That means she's going to get more. You see it? And the more she gets, the more you share. By contemplating the truth about what we call the Creator, we are actually contemplating our own truth. Does that make sense? When you see me, you see him that sent me. So as you contemplate the truth about God, you're actually contemplating the truth about yourself, because God can't separate himself from himself. He can't separate himself from his creation. Everything that he made, he put himself in. So therefore, God is really communing with himself. That's why you're in this thing to get rid of you. You see it? That's why you work every day. That's why you go into situations, because you don't know how many situations you got locked up inside you that need to be cast out. They need to go to the swine. But you don't know who they are until somebody touches that button. And when they touch that button and you start getting upset, instead of getting upset, what should you be saying? You need to go. You need to go, because where God is, nobody can touch God's button. Hello? Nobody can touch God's button. So if your button is getting shaky or whatnot, you need to open the door and let him out. And you need to stay there. Okay, God, that one got to go. Why? Because you should have no opinions about anything. Nothing. Come on, man, I got to vote. Well, go vote. Go vote. But you don't have to have no opinion about voting. Your kingdom is not of this world. If it's not of that world, where is it? If you had a kingdom of this world, would not your servants come and fight for you? When's the last time you saw the angels running and fighting for you? No. They're not going to fight in this world. Who are they fighting? They're fighting principalities and powers in heavenly places. What's that? At least you are established as ruling over your life, most of them are negative. Most of them are most of them are protective solutions. Did you get it? You know why? Because God is all powerful. God is all knowing, and God is everywhere. To get rid of that, God is the root and the basis of all truth. Contemplation of the root causes or reveals the invisible bond between the truth and its expression physically. Contemplation of the root. The Father is the root. I am the vine. Ye are the branches. Contemplating the root. That's the point. Why would I contemplate the root? Because the vine told me to. You see it? Jesus Christ said, except you believe in me, you have no part of me. So Jesus Christ said, contemplate the root, which is God. I am attached to the root. Now look at all these things that I have done based on my telling you that I am attached to the root. Ye are the branches. So if you contemplate the root, then what is in the root is going to come up through the vine and express itself individually as you. People are going to call you fortunate. They're going to call you lucky. They're going to call you being in the right place at the right time. They're going to call you all these things. But the bottom line is, you have to know what? That you are. You have to know that you are. And contemplating the root is now going to start surfacing all this ugly that you've been carrying around, not knowing that that ugly is what's keeping you down. And it's going to bring it to the surface so you can say, okay, Lord, it needs to go. It needs to go. But you keep contemplating the root. Don't look to see if it's going to leave. I had stuff that has left my life, or gone from my life, and didn't know it was gone until way down the road. I have no desire for it. But it's gone. Why? It's much like a divorce. Get into a marriage and ignore your counterpart, what happens? One day they're going to come up and say, I got to get out of here, right? And you sit up going, well, why? Because your focus was somewhere else. So if you keep your focus on God, what's going to happen to that other? It's got to go. Or it's going to rear its ugly head every now and then and scream out for attention. But you're going to say, our Father, which art in heaven, look at where your attention is going now. If it's going towards God and you can see him running around in the back, screaming, please pay attention to me. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. It's being ignored. And if you keep going and say, okay, Lord, I'm at the end and I don't feel like I've accomplished much, but I'm going to be quiet for a little bit. Who heard you? God did. Whether it looked like that thing was going to die, did he hear you? Amen. He had to hear you. Why? Because your heart was in it. And if your heart is in it, he heard you. And if he heard you, we have the petition granted. Don't look for it. Just know that he heard you. Why? Because it's his desire to bring you where he is. Jesus did not go to prepare a place. He also building no houses, y'all. He don't have a construction crew up in heaven building all these different stuff. I go to prepare a place simply means I'm getting out of your view so you quit. You know, I haven't prayed. and they're not getting the prayer list, why are they ignoring them? Because that's not the way. That's not the way. He says, greater work shall you do. Is it? Stop asking him to go in. He's not going to do it. He's not coming. He showed you how to do it. How do I do it? Believe on him who God has sent. Eat his flesh, drink his blood. That's what it means. Take his teachings in and digest them into you so that when you open them out, that's what comes out. And that was killing me. I was young. We were having a revival in the church. We come down from Michigan, and I said, it's going to rain. And they were forecasting a thunderstorm. And I don't know what the world made me say that, but I got up and said, it's not going to rain. Well, the next day it clouded over. It got so ugly that my brother was barbecuing and whatnot, and every now and then I see him because he knew I see. He just looked at me and how I was doing. When he looked at me, I just looked away from him and looked up in the sky, and he just said, man, these ribs they're going to be right when you're. And this lady up on the hill called me up on the hill. And I went up to her house and I was sitting up there, and I was when her son-in-law walked in. And he said, you're going to go to Michigan? I said, yeah. I didn't know it. He said, well, I don't know what y'all call rain in Michigan. And he go back to the time it was coming down like, and I all I know is that I heard the rain went back up. It didn't just stop. It went back up. And when it went up, I went, oh my gosh. He went, oh my gosh. And he laid there in the floor in 10 seconds. His shirt was wet as though he had gone swimming somewhere. And the woman looked over to him and said, I told you better leave your boy alone. But I was in awe. You see what I'm saying? That's why I say a lot of times, I know a thing to do. A thing to do. But I don't talk about those things because they're not important. They're important to me. And it must have been important to you tonight for me to bring that one out. Amen. But you get my point. They're important to me because they're proof to me somewhere in the kingdom of heaven. Even though I realize I am the kingdom of heaven. But situations keep coming up to make me what they call stronger. The line or the avenue of expression, which we call the branch, is Christ. Is the Christ. Stop trying to get to Christ to come to you. Because when you came from heaven, guess who came with you? Yeah. And in reality, that thing you call you was never in heaven. It was the Christ sent from heaven in a body. And when it got here, somebody named you something else and trained Christ to go back there. And now you're waking up. Waking up. In a body. Crying. Father, I want to go home. You're on your way home. Okay? That's why life doesn't die young and it doesn't grow old. We into the heart. You're on your way to another expression. Train. Well, train. Christ is the word. So how do you, when you truly believe in Christ will lead you praise. Whatsoever man so be careful. Be careful. I had somebody said, ain't gonna nobody pump me out. Well, go ahead and pump. Okay? That's what Jesus said. When they smack you on one cheek, what did he say? No. That's when he pumped, ain't it? But what are you saying? What is it for the kingdom of heaven that has come unto you, and I forgive you? I'm going to praise him. Because you're getting ready for something. So they thought they smacked the person. But in reality, who did they smack? The Christ, Lord. And you're praying for them. Something that you don't want them to have to go through what they've been ready to go through. Man will steal himself. He'll steal him. Steal is not, it is not thinking of situations and conditions. That's what steal is. Man will steal himself. He will focus himself on the truth. He will contemplate the truth, bring it up until it speaks to his conscience. You get that? Well, I did it. I got quiet and I did it, but it didn't happen. Well, keep doing it. Whatsoever man believe, all things are possible to him that believe. So therefore, if you believe this still in yourself, the going small voice, it has to come. It has to. Why? And you speak to yourself. And you must hear yourself speaking. Is that not receiving divine awareness? When received in consciousness, the word is made flesh. Now you should begin to see that whatsoever you are contemplating, you are bringing forth out here. It's hard to tell people that when you start a fight with somebody out there, whether it's verbal or physical, that's what you bring it back. You might win that one. But now you set in motion another one. Someone else is going to come. Billy the Kid. Billy the Kid just went around just picking fights, didn't he? Until he met who? Pat Garrett. When he met Pat Garrett, it was over. I don't care how many fights you fight. If you fight them on your own, you will win them or lose them on your own. But if you let the word go before you, the word will drop them. It'll drop them. It'll drop them. Even to the point of crucifixion of the truth, which they did with Jesus. And what happened after 3 days? He got up and he came and proved that nothing that anyone can do to the creation of God, knowing the truth. You see that? Nothing can harm that person. All power and authority, both in heaven and earth, has been given unto me. That's where you're headed, and you got to get rid of you to get there. That's why I tell you all the time, be quiet. Be quiet. Talk this over amongst ourselves, but don't talk it over with people out there because they can't hear it. And I don't care how you try to sneak it in and make it palatable and make it, they can't hear it. They can't hear it. But if you get it in you and get it in you, know this. It will change your household. That's where you're going to see it first. in your house. But what if I live alone? Your house are those who are close to you. Once you get it going on in you, you don't have to say anything. One day you just look up and go, wow, what changed them? And immediately you'll hear, I changed them. And you just keep right on loving. Love is the key. You keep on loving unconditionally in spite of. This is the heritage of the saints, that which loves us abides in us. So in actuality, we are loving ourselves, receiving awareness divine. God bless you. This is item 12. I forgot to mention that. This is item 12.